guest has been a sports writer in New York for over 25 years. He's also the author of 3 best-selling young adult novels, the latest of which is entitled Miracle on 49th Street. Please welcome the Lip, Mike Lupica. A lot to talk about in the world of sports. First of all, I'm curious about something. You've been in this business a long time, and you are well known for speaking your mind, often about very powerful sports figures, physically powerful, sports figures. And then you have to, the next day after you write your column, you have to be in the locker room 5 feet away. Have you ever been physically threatened?
Yeah. Darryl Strawberry once threatened to stuff me in a trash can back when he was playing, and for something that I didn't even write. It turned out to be something another sports writer had written, but there was no reason.
There was a mix-up.
Yeah, but yeah, he didn't really want to get into a truth and beauty discussion at that point. So anyway, I avoid getting, Oscar the Grouched by him. And then, so now during the playoffs this year, I'm sitting with him in the Mets dugout, and he said, "Hey, remember the time I nearly threatened to stuff you in a garbage can?" I said, "Yeah. Boy, those were the days, huh?"
Those were good times.
Yeah, did I forget to send you a card on the 10th reunion?
But you never feel, like, because it's, I would think a difficult part of the job is, a lot of these guys, they have egos, and you have to then be in close proximity to them.
Yeah, I actually, Pedro Martinez kind of called me out earlier this year. I had written a column about how everything he did was very dramatic, and he...
Which doesn't sound actually like a big, that's not a big slam.
I was saying he wasn't hurt, and so I turn around in the Mets clubhouse one day, and it was like right before they were getting ready to play, so everybody's in there, and he says, "Are you a man?" So I'm thinking, okay, is this a trick question? So I like back off, because all I'm thinking is, let's not have this conversation end up somewhere where he's, going to threaten to stuff me in a garbage can, because it would make me feel like my career wasn't really advancing in the way I wanted to.
Yeah, the threats should at least get more advanced.
I think it would be easier to cover the theater, where you don't have to go down and say, Tom Stoppard, the second act sucked or something.
So what is the answer to "Are you a man"? Isn't it just "You betcha"? That's what I say. When I walk down the street, people are like, "You a man?" I'm like, "You betcha."
Yeah, but that's how...
That shuts him up pretty fast.
That's how it was.
And then the beating commences.
Yeah, you don't want to... all the players are watching, so you just want to get out of it with some measure of dignity afterwards.
If Mike Tyson asks you that, you say, "I'm whatever you want me to be."
Yeah. Check one of the above.
Yes.
You decide. What is the worst? I think you've covered just about everything. What's the worst sport to cover as a journalist?
Oh, it's not even close. It's the America's Cup. I actually...
The yacht race.
The yacht race, yeah, which I had never been anywhere near it, but it was the year that Australia beat the United States, and I was in the area, so they made me go. And I thought it was going to be like, an NBA game. You could just paddle out in a dinghy and watch the last 2 minutes and feel like you'd seen everything.
Right, just like crashing over the waves and the ship's just one...
No. You go out on a boat for like 9 hours. And I'm bad on boats. So, so the first couple hours, I'm just below decks, just flopping around like, a horny manatee or something.
Right,
so,
thanks for the plug.
So now everybody says, "Oh, come on up. Something great's happening." And you go out and you stand and you look in the distance. And you're not even close to the tube.
Right.
And all you can see are like 2 swizzle sticks in the distance. And somebody say, "Did you see that?" And you say, "What?" And say, "Oh, God, it's over." And then you go back to, and then you'd be sick for 2 more hours, and you come back up.
Right, so nothing really happens. There's just like...
happens.
And then finally one boat just sort of finishes, and someone somewhere says, "I think we have a winner," and then everybody drinks rum.
Yeah, and then you come back into shore, and they play Waltzing Matilda, and there's great jubilation, and you're done.
Yeah. Any sport that ends with Waltzing Matilda is a crappy sport. Yay! Waltzing Matilda! I have to ask you this, as you know, I'm a Boston boy, and so I'm very interested in the Red Sox. What's going to happen with them? Settle down. My show, I can clear this area. Man, am I in the wrong city? The Red Sox just paid $51 million for just the right to talk to a Japanese pitcher. What is going on? It just seems like we've suddenly, especially between the Yankees and the Red Sox, but it seems like the amount of money being thrown around. Now, this is for the right to negotiate.
Just to get a seat at the table.
$51 million.
$51 million for a guy named Matsuzaka, and with no guarantee that they can
also,
sign
no
him.
one really knows. We've heard he's good, but no one really seems to have any definitive answer about how good he is.
The greatest pitcher nobody's ever seen. Okay,
Right.
and then. So they spend $51 million. And then the Yankees turn around a couple weeks later, and they spend $25 million on a pitcher who's not nearly as good as him to get a seat at the table to negotiate with him. Now, if you're the father, say, of a young Japanese pitching prospect, you hope that the Red Sox-Yankee rivalry goes on forever.
Right.
But the best thing about this is all the time the Red Sox say that they can't spend along with the Yankees, then they finish in third place and they find this great big pile of money under the bed and they go spend $51 million to sign this guy.
It does feel sometimes that there's no end to it. That literally 5 years from now someone could say, yeah, we found a pretty good B-plus pitcher. You know, we just found him, and we're going to pay him $1.6 billion.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers the other day spent $47 million on a guy named Jason Smith, who I didn't even think was that good. But there's no pitching out there, and so everybody, it's a wild market for pitchers right now.
All right, one last question before I go. Mark McGwire up for the Hall of Fame. Controversial. What's your decision going to be? Because you have a vote.
It's the only thing I get to vote on in sports. I'm not voting for him. If I think you use steroids and I think that you tried to make it a less than level playing field, I'm not going to vote for any of these guys. It's the only thing I can say about it now. I wish I'd known more then. I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting for Sosa. I'm not voting for Pelham. I'm not voting for any of them.
Okay. Do you ever worry that there's no definitive proof so that you're making this huge decision on someone's career, but how do you really know?
You know what? Mark McGwire went up in front of Congress last year, and he had a chance to say something, and he said he didn't want to talk about the past. Well, okay. Yeah. That was your deal. I'm not voting for it.
Yeah, he pretty much told you there. The book, there's no transition here. The book... When you're in this business long enough, you just say, no transition here. Miracle on 49th Street. This is written, you wrote this book in the voice of a 12-year-old girl. I'm not...
Well,
yes, that's not a joke. This is written in the voice of a 12-year-old girl.
Okay, my wife thinks that me writing... My wife... Wait now. My wife thinks that me writing...
So I guess Pedro Martinez was onto something. Pedro was just reading, are you a man?
There's something else going on over there.
Oh, you'll be back here in the commercial break.
My wife thinks that me writing from the mind of any 12-year-old is like perfect casting. So it wasn't a big adjustment to go from a 12-year-old boy to a 12-year-old girl.
Well, you have a lot of kids. You have 4 kids.
I got these kids. Yeah, people say, how come the dialogue sounds so right? I mean, I'm listening to my kids from the back seat of the car. I'm listening to them at the dinner table. They're constantly
You're constantly listening in on their phone conversations?
I don't have to admit that. I'm not going to tell you that, but no, they bust me if they think I don't get it right.
Right, they tell you how to...
If they're giving me the language that I use in these books.
All right, well, the book is Miracle on 49th Street. It is in stores now. Check it out. Mike, thanks so much for being here. Always a pleasure. Mike Lupica, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, then, that's our show. I do want to thank all my guests. Stay tuned for Last Call with Carson Daly, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.